Hello, welcome to New Nest Podcast, episode 82. I'm your host Stan, aka The Magic T, joined by Marco and Adam, as always. Marco, aka Taco, the first of my two beautiful, immortal co-hosts. How are you doing, and how's your week?
Hello, thank you. Doing decent. It's been an odd week, first week working from home, so it's incorporated a lot of frustration, technical issues, a lot of minimal moving from one room to the other, and then a lot of Twitch streams, a lot of Zai and Koifa. So it's been a mixed badge.
Nice. Yeah, weird situation. Such a bizarre world at the moment. Have you been outside much?
Yeah, I've been going on walks and runs. It's been an awesome week, really. So been twisting those government rules as much as possible. I mean, putting on a wig and stuff like that, making sure I can get out more than once a day.
Yeah, go for a walk, change the kit, and then fly out again.
Change the kit.
Yeah, get escorted home.
Just imagine you actually changing football kits.
Yeah. Well, Adam, you haven't got quite as stringent restrictions imposed upon you at the moment. Maybe you've got them to look forward to, I don't know, but how's your week been?
I've been cooped up for the week. I don't go outside like Marco. I don't go on walks. I don't move. I sit at this desk and I work and I play Animal Crossing and I play DotA. That's my outdoor activity is Animal Crossing.
Sounds like you got it sorted out, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the life. I've been going for some walks. The reason I asked Marco is because I feel it's really weird the times I've been out this week. It's eerie and you feel guilty for even being outside. You feel like you need to justify yourself to the people looking at you. At least where I am anyway. But yeah, I guess DotA, time for DotA to thrive, right? In this new isolation, stay inside world. It's time for DotA to ascend to a new level of player base.
I mean, weekends have now got a different meaning. It's nothing's on the cards with DotA 2.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're back. Because that's what it's always been for me.
Yeah. Let's do how have games been. Marco, you can kick us off. Been playing much this week?
So my games have been unranked. There was that 7 loss streak, which was pretty rough. But then a few days ago, we turned it around. We started taking things a bit more seriously with a Furion and a Ricky. Trying to think if there was any interesting games. I feel like none stand out that much. Maybe it's been too long and I can't remember them, or I've for once done an Adam and kind of buried the losses under the ground rather than thinking about them forever.
That's good.
Though, to be fair, there were a couple comments. These comments cycle every month, but we had a couple games where we against some crazy semi-smurf, just semi-OP stack in unranked. We played a couple with Joe, I think. Or maybe Joe was in one of them, but not both of them. But the other team was just 500 average MMR higher on every player, and it was just total beatdowns. I think that happened in the last week, where we lost 2 games in 30 minutes with a kill score of 20 to 100. Something crazy like that.
The second game, when we played them again, it wasn't as much of a stomp. That was the game where their sicko player was playing Pugna. That was only 38 to 27 kill score.
I must be thinking of 2 other games then, which weren't with Joe, and they were just total stomp downs. Maybe you weren't in them, I'm not sure.
I wasn't in the first time. I don't think I was in either of them. Yeah,
maybe Adam. I think you were in them, Adam.
Yeah, I was.
It was literally, if you add the 2 games, something like 40 minutes played.
42 to 7 we lost.
42 to 7?
Yeah, and then we followed it up with a 65 to 15 and then 42 to 7.
God, we got smacked so hard. They were such better stacks. It was just too brutal. Just no Dota enjoyment was had because they were just too unbalanced. They had these supports that just won every lane, and then at 10 minutes were about 7k behind, just getting pounded. No one knows what to do. They were there were two in a row as well. It's just awful games.
There were different stacks, though.
Yes.
Because then we played the team we lost to 65-15 the next day. We played them again and lost. And that was the Pugna game, yeah.
And that was the game where Adam was having a very rough time on Skywrath Mage. And the first time you ultied someone, at the same time that you ulted, I used Inner Fire on Huskar and like knocked them out of your ult. And I remember Adam just being like, "Oh my god, the first time I've comboed someone this game." Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah. Adam, you've been, I guess, have you been playing ranked this week? Get some ranked?
No.
No.
I had a 10-game loss streak in unranked.
Wow.
Which encompassed part of those stomps. I felt like I lost 10 games in a row where none of them were close. Except for one where we had a mega creep lead for like 30 minutes and lost. That's like what capped it off. That was my 10th loss in a row. It's like we got megas and then threw the game. Looking at on Dota Buff at my friends this week, looks like my win rate with Marco is 28%. And with friend of the pod, Nick Day, we're at 14%.
Oh, I got 0% with Nick, 4 games. Feels good.
We got 40% with Loot Monkey, so better than either of you two.
What was mine? Am I on there?
Mate, you're not on there.
Get a public profile.
Yeah.
Oh, feels bad. Sorry.
Quit hiding it.
Yeah,
but then
I should
started to win a few games. 4 out of my last 5, so I've forgotten all about the 10 loss streak. It was all on rank, so it doesn't matter anyways.
Yeah. Well, my games, I actually didn't play ranked for a month until this whole stay inside or you're going to die stuff started. So I thought, what better a time to choose than to get back into the ranked. So I kicked things off with a Lycan mid loss, followed up by a Centaur Warrunner loss. And I'm not sure why I did that. In my mind, or not even in my mind, I'd say probably 6 months, the build-up of going on Dota Buff every day and seeing Lycan at the top of the win rates at 60%, like grinds on me more and more and more, and eventually I cave in and play Lycan, lose, have a terrible experience, and then don't play Lycan again for 6 months. And so it was basically that time of the half year, if you want to put it that way, for me. So I played Lycan mid. I actually do think Lycan mid's pretty legit. I think it wasn't the hero choice that was bad, but anyway, lost. Then Centaur, that was just to get tokens. I selected all roles and got offlane, which is kind of interesting. I was just expecting to get hard support instantly, but I got offlane. And interestingly, when I did it again today to get more tokens, I got POS 4, which is, usually I would just expect to get hard support every time. Anyway. I played a TA and lost, so I was 0-3 on the first day, which is bad. And then the next day, played 3 Pugna games and won them all, but one was unranked, so whatever, only 2-0 really. And then, what's the first rule of the podcast?
If we play a game on podcast day, we lose.
Yeah,
exactly.
don't play before the pod.
Exactly, well done. I, despite having this lesson taught to me basically every week, decided to fly in some games today, and that's a guaranteed 0-3. You don't just overcome a curse like that. You don't just overcome a curse as strong as the podcast record day curse. So, yeah, I had to soak up some losses. That was unfortunate. So, that's basically the extent of my return to ranked, is a 2-6. So, I've got some work to do.
So, you had a 0-3, 2-0, 0-3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I need to wait for tomorrow. I can't win until tomorrow. I either win all my games or lose them all. I have to wait till tomorrow. I mean, if you include
because you get a little bit of hope in there with the 2-0.
Yeah,
so
and
it was bookended.
Yeah, and it felt good because I won an unranked before as well, so it was actually 3-0, even though one didn't, whatever. We don't care about unranked, but yeah, sad times. But I'm enjoying ranked a bit, even though the games are very frustrating. The 2 games I played today were like particularly annoying because I thought I played well, which I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing to feel like you're playing well on a loss. It might be a bad thing because if you can't win when you play well, then you're gonna definitely not win when you don't play well. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I think you need to have like, I don't know, 10%, 20%, some minority number of games where you can state I did play well and I played as like to that higher end of my ability, but we still lost because I'm dragged too far down by other people. But I think you'd want most of your loss. You want like half your losses where you can say, I know I could have done better.
You just want to focus on your own play, anyways.
Yeah, but there will be some games where you play really well, like you play to the upper band of your ability, but can't win. And they are the losses you want. But then obviously that's not going to be every loss, and so you should be able to critique yourself and go, how could I have actually done that a bit better on these 50% of games, which I didn't play like 100 MMR above where I am right now.
Yeah. I guess to be fair, I'm pretty hopeful because the 2 games that I won yesterday were just like stomps, like out and out stomps, whereas the 2 games I've lost today have been like close games that we could have won. So I don't know, but yeah, we'll see. It's good to get back to ranked because unranked is so like just bullshit in comparison. I don't know, like I play unranked and it's just people don't try as much. Like I'd rather play against an unranked Divine 3 than like a ranked Ancient 5 or like Ancient 4 because I feel like no one really like me, take me for example, in my unranked games, I just pick like random heroes and like Huskar and like PL and Terrorblade and Spectre that I just can't play. So, I don't know, yeah, it's good to get back to some ranked games. I'll keep the listeners updated whether they like it or not. So, there you go. Before we go on to the actual topic, quick word for the We Play charity thing. Marco, you mentioned having the stream on a lot. You managed to catch a lot of this? Because I feel like it was quite a wacky tournament in the end. Quite a lot of wacky picks, cool meta stuff going on.
Yeah, I did have it on in the background quite often. There was, I'm trying to remember what the classics were. So I know there was a lot of discussion in the Discord about Nigma picking Clinks on Kuroki 3 times in a row, and then Kuroki also had a Razor, so he was being really quite edgy. There was a lot of FY Windrunner that was pretty dominant. Trying to think what those are some cheesy picks out there, like a Meepo and Brood to it were coming out.
2 core Dazzles, Pos1 and Mid Dazzle.
There was the Weehaw Barra, did you say? I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a Weehaw Barra, yeah.
So it seemed, quite wacky. I guess people are taking it a little bit less seriously.
Quite a few teams were running Pos 5 Void Spirit as well.
Oh yeah, Hellraiser, they ran it like 3, 4, 5. They kept switching it up, which is interesting, and in CM, very powerful. Trying to think if there was anything else that stood out. The Void Spirit was definitely something quite big that happened. Oh, there was some like sweaty Lycan powerhouse, like Lycan Crob gaming, lots of Crob. It was quite a fun tournament. I can't really remember super specifics because I wasn't watching it very intensely, but it was fun to have in the background, and some good UK talent was on show.
Yep,
Shout out to that.
The only thing UK Dota can be 10K at is hosting, casting.
Yeah, talent. That reminds me of the World Cup when everyone in the UK was cheering the fact that Howard Webb refed the final or something of the World Cup, and it was like, not even close in actual football, but yeah, we've got a ref that does it. Did you catch any of the charity play, like any of the other regions maybe, or Adam, or?
No, I only saw some of that Hellraisers Navi. That's about the only thing I saw. So I didn't even see any of this Enigma stuff. It's funny, did Kuroki see my Razor 5 game? Remember that Razor 5 game we played?
It's been watching your replays.
Yeah.
I'd recommend the finals, Enigma versus Hellraisers, the EU CIS joint final, because I guess it's the only region that can play on the same server, I suppose.
Right.
So they joined them up, and that was a cool series. Best of 5 went the full distance. I guess I've just spoiled it for everyone. Sorry about that.
All right, so the first 4 games don't matter.
Yeah. That was very cool. And it looks like, in terms of tournaments for the foreseeable future, this is the way it's going to be with the regions playing amongst themselves. I know ESL Birmingham and ESL Los Angeles are going to play some online region-locked format thing now. I haven't seen
NIP's new roster.
No, I haven't seen NIP's new roster.
They're getting Milan and Ramses.
You're getting Ramses?
Yeah, because it's region locked. I mean, yeah, because no one can. EG can't exist basically.
Oh,
they can't find a server for all 3. Like they're too spread out.
Oh,
so Ramsey stand-in for NIP. Very cool.
Interesting. So, I guess what is like Fly in Israel or something, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's since Ramses is in, CIS somewhere,
right.
and
Yeah.
Abed's in Southeast Asia. It's like if they play US West to accommodate Abed, then it's unplayable for Ramses.
Yeah.
And then vice versa.
Yeah, if they do US East, then Abed can't play.
Or if they do like EU or like Luxembourg or whatever. Yeah, so
yeah. Interesting.
The 2 spread out, too diverse of a lineup.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't do their contingency planning well enough. They didn't have a team that was localized enough to survive like a pandemic.
Yeah, so I wonder if they'll pick up like a stand-in or something so they can play like LA, or just play
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they're taking like a moratorium or a break or what as a squad. But I think this stuff is going to last for a long time, so they might have to figure something out.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess topic of the day then, we're going to be talking about Weaver and Furion, or Nature's Prophet for those of us that aren't cool Dota 1 hipsters like Marco. What's Weaver's name, by the way?
Isn't he just a Weaver?
Nah.
He's a skitterbug. That's what I call him.
It is, yeah. It's like skit something.
Oh, Skitsker. Skitsker the Weaver.
Let's start with this Weaver, because it's seen some bit more prominence even up into the pros, certainly in pubs. Why is that? Why now? What makes Weaver cool now? What's changed?
'Cause he good. Yeah, and it's funny. He's already been touched up once.
Yes.
I would say he got giga buffed in 7.2.5, then got touched up in 7.2b, and he's still good. So in the new patch, or in 7.2.5, he got 3 int, which is great because he only had 13 before. So actually like a quarter more mana at level 1. He got more int gain. He got more base mana regen from 0.4 to 0.75. And then Shukichi moved from a movement bonus of 225 to scaling from 220 to 280. So it's actually a buff to later levels of Shukichi. Like you go even faster.
That's then been changed in 7.25b.
Yeah.
To now be scaling from 200 to 260. So at level 4, it's only 20 less than the 280 they originally got buffed to.
Yeah, level 3 and 4 of the spell is still faster than the original version. So I've only played him on the B patch, but at max with treads, I was going 6.14. So long past are the days of you just getting max move speed. Right, just the 550. Now you're actually booking it, and then at level 25 you're going like 900 or something.
The hero has taken quite a beating with 7.25b though. The win rate before was 55% or 54.5%. Now it's down to 51%. So that's like a minus 3.5.
I think that a lot of that should be Well, I don't know what its pick rate is. Maybe you can say. I imagine its pick rate's been climbing since 7.25A.
It's been falling since 7.25B.
I think it's people more used to playing against it as it pops up again.
I would say the win rate is higher relatively in Divine Plus. The win rate in Divine Plus is higher than, this is a hero that's win rate increase. Actually, to be fair, only very, very marginally. But still, maybe in the Divine Plus bracket, it's holding up a little bit better post nerf.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most crazy nerf. Conceptually, it's not like the hero's changed in terms of how do you deal with Weaver. Maybe it's getting picked more aggressively and then more counter-picked or something.
That's probably what I'm thinking it is, because all the buffs are still there. Like the big buffs were the laning buffs with the extra int and the mana regen. Because now you just get the spam shukichi all the time. It was so active, so much poke, so much repositioning. You just shukichi behind someone and just keep pepping them.
Yeah, I think it's cool how the movement speed change to unlock it beyond max movement speed has, thrown the hero straight into the top tier level of Dota and pro scene in the highest level of pubs. Very common. I was watching it a lot this week, and it just shows that it's faster. It's moving around the map faster. Its aggression potential is higher. You can get on heroes much easier. You're defensively way better. You can run away faster. Really just takes the hero to that next level. So I really want to play it to see this new and improved Weaver in action before it gets nerfed a bit too much because it gets too popular.
I think it's also benefited in the generality from items that Weaver really likes being really strong, and I'm thinking of Treads and Diffusal particularly. They're both really just strong items at the moment. Obviously, we know Treads are really dominating the boot scene, if you can call it that, over phase. And Diffusal's a good item. Buy. Yeah. Well, is that on Weaver? Obviously, you're never buying anything other than Treads.
No, I think on any hero for the most part.
Yeah.
I would say supports, but yeah.
Yeah, Treads Diffusal heroes are stronger because Treads and Diffusal are both really good items at the moment. Not that you always have to go Diffusal, you certainly don't, but it's quite a common one.
Yeah, I saw Koifer play 3 games of Weaver in a row, twice carry, once mid, and he was always going Diffusal, Dragonlance. Oh wait, sorry, Diffusal. I think there was one game Diffusal, Dragonlance, but I think 2 of them were Diffusal followed by Lincolns for the defensive. It reminds me of Gyro as well, this kind of pick, how very skirmishy, can always turn up to a fight. All it needs is a W to be up and it can start a fight. In the laning, it's very strong with a lane partner. I saw a Weaver Grimstroke wreak havoc because you just...
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, you just run on top of someone and guarantee a stun every time. But also, just laning defensively, you're going to do a bit better than a melee support in a lot of ways. And often, you're going to have a more offensive capability than a lot of melee carries in a lot of ways. So meta-wise, it's definitely fitting the bill. And also the way I've seen the Weavers is it is a quote one, but most often it's played as this tempo one and isn't the true hard carry of the team. Rather in the mid game, like I say, with the Diffusal pickup, say 15 minutes, you hit that and you just fly around the map for 10 minutes fighting. And then you have, say, some TA or some harder carry that's been farming in the mid and farming in the mid game that then comes and carries you into the late game. So that's why it reminds me of the gyro. You know how you often have these rotating gyros fighting, rather than some hard carry like a Naga might be, say. So it feels like it fits well in this meta and playstyle.
Yeah, I certainly much prefer Weaver being like a tempo core kind of thing rather than a tempo pos one kind of thing rather than the absolute hard carry, because at the end of the day, if you're going for an absolute hard carry, you'd rather have a hero that has some innate survivability, because really you want to build damage on the hero. Sure, you said Koikfer went Lincolns, but just looking through the guides and my own obviously very weak experience, I feel like when Weaver really pops off it feels bad buying something like Lincoln's. It's quite expensive. You really want to be getting like, you know, these right-click items, maybe like a Mjolnir, Diffusal, certainly, like Daedalus even, Dragonlance, stuff like that, Butterfly even. Whereas other hard carries that are like particularly strength cores, they're like naturally a bit more survivable than Weaver.
Yeah,
so that's the reason why I like it, as like what you were explaining.
Yeah, fighter. I don't think it can be a hard carry either, because just its farming capability, you can't match someone like an Illusion Hero or someone like an Anti-Mage or a Battle Fury or a Troll. Say your raw right click isn't going to farm fast enough against the hard carry, so you want to be fighting a bit more and putting pressure on the map.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So yeah,
funny.
I think...
Just like Weaver used to be fall into the Morphling / Medusa, we're like, we're just going to farm up the Lincolns first before we do anything else. That used to be the Weaver way back when, and now because you need the mana regen, and if they have one targeted stun, you're dead. But now it's like you don't even brush that. You get the fighty items, which I like.
Get 2 Wraith Bands, get a wand, Power Treads. You can get a Blightstone plus neutral item. If you have all that and you're level 7, say, you're a big threat already. And then you farm that Diffusal.
7/8's where you're like, you should just be running around max shukichi. I like the bugs more than the Geminate. I think the bugs are so strong.
Yeah.
So gross, so hard for a support to deal with. If you chase them and they have bugs in them, they're like, do I stop and attack the bug? And then I just die to the Weaver? Do I keep running and die to the bugs? And let the Weaver go on someone else?
Yeah, that's what Koifer said. He said max the bugs over the Geminate attack because it's that much better for fighting, and you want to be fighting, you want to be strong in the skirmishes. So,
yeah. So much unappreciated minus armor from the bugs and damage. And then, especially when you get the +3 bugs, or +3 hits to kill a bug or something, +3 or 4. That talent at 20.
+4.
+2. Or is it +4? It
says +4 swarm attacks to kill for me.
Yeah, I don't know why the Weaver talents on Gamepedia are like gig out of date. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of attacks.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. I mean, supports have no attack speed, so they just can't. They can't kill a bug. Like, you actually need the tower / cores to help, or else they die too. I had a Weaver game. That was one of my wins this week, and it felt amazing. But I didn't. I built. I started off with a Bassi, so I had so much. I went actually Bassi headdress wand were my first items in lane. I just like lived forever.
You played it out of the off lane, right? You played it positive.
Yeah, I played off lane.
It's interesting because I usually, through my Dota history, I've hated Weaver off lane, like with a passion.
Me too.
Is it acceptable now, or do you think this is a POS 1 hero? And if it is acceptable to play as a 3, what differences, if any, would there be between that and POS 1?
I think as a 3, you're just tasked with trying to win the lane and be more active throughout the game, which is what I did. So they had a really weird lineup, and it ended up being I was against a safe lane Arc Warden, which is like an Arc Warden and a Disruptor. Which is about best case scenario for a Weaver against an Arc. Like, you just close on top of them, so the bubble doesn't do anything, and then you never get hit by Spark Wraith because you're too fast. And the bugs, it's just, I don't think he was the most comfortable in the hero, because there were multiple times in lane where I just killed him and the clone, so I was getting like 480 gold, basically.
Nice.
Yeah. And then you just time lapse and you'd be at full health and just keep farming.
Yeah.
But I think, you just as a 3, you want to be active. I think you take advantage of level 7, level 8 a lot better. But then you have to compensate with the team. Like, we had a Void one, which I like, because then you double up on kind of elusivity and hard to kill, and also you have a big stun from your one. Because, Weaver's not going to, besides like the defusal, you're not going to have a lot of controls. You need to get control either from the rest of your supports. You can't really have those greedy supports, or you need your core to have some team fight control. So
yeah, you have to definitely be careful that you're not picking a Weaver when you don't have control elsewhere in the team. I think typically I don't like it as I'm going to be a 3 Weaver, because I feel like if you pick it, it's more likely than not that your team won't adapt to what you're playing, and they'll just be like, we've got a 3 and we've got a hero that takes control of map pressure and control and initiation, and I'll pick assuming that to be true when actually it's not, because you're a Weaver. So I think on most cases you have to be a bit careful with it, but I think if you can pick it knowing that you're going to crush that off lane, because like Adam's matchup, some you will just be able to, then that is cool. And
I also second phased it, so I don't know, like picked it early and was like, I'll just put it down here, and then they didn't really counter it. I feel like Weaver has some free games. You know how certain heroes are just like, oh, this is a free blank game. I think Weaver definitely has some games where it's like, oh, I just get to do whatever I want, because their lineup was Disruptor, Invoker, Monkey King, Quap, and Arc Warden. So it's it's really greedy. They have a lot of burst and some pseudo control. Like, actually the worst thing to deal with is the Disruptor static field, or the E, whatever. It's not even kinetic the silence field you care about. Yeah, the kinetic field. Yeah, because you can't move around in that. Everything else, if you don't get bursted, like you just don't get stopped. You're too fast. You don't care about Monkey King Q or tornadoes or anything. Like, you just run away. So
yeah, he's one of those nice heroes where in some games, when the enemy aren't well equipped to dealing with it, it feels amazing, because the game feels like kind of not easy in the sense that it's easy to win, but you face little difficulties in your own individual game because the heroes just don't have spells that deal with you.
Yeah.
The POS 3 Weaver or indeed the POS 1, is this Solar Crest item ever considered? The last time Weaver was in the meta, I feel like Crest was very common. Is that died a death now? Would you never consider that anymore?
I think that item's kind of fallen off on all heroes.
Yeah, certainly.
Nowhere near as popular. Sick. And I think it's because the Ultimate Orb, it's just so much gold to have sitting around before you finish it off. I think like the medallion is so value, but then it's like, oh, you got to sit here and farm up another, how much? Probably like 2.8k or something, because you got to get the what's the little moose, the wind lace, and then the recipe, and then the ultimate orb. But Weaver extremely excels in low armor situations because you have Gemini and bugs, and so you want low armor. That's why I always would build Deso in the old days on them too. So it's just like minus armor. Definitely want to find a way to incorporate it.
Yeah. I don't know if you two would agree with this, but if you did pick Weaver, either as a POS 1 or a POS 3, and your other side lane core and your mid picked really greedy heroes, physical damage, not much catch sort of thing, do you think it's a wise play to just swallow your pride and just do a treads pipe Weaver build, or do you think you should stick with your guns and the only way your hero can be impactful is by just being another elusive, high damage, no control core? Because I feel like I'd like to see in that kind of situation, I think you just build like Pipe or Crimson anyway, just because the item will be so value for your team.
I remember way back when, like TI 3 era, I had my mind blown. I think it was Fnatic. Might have been Trixie. And he played offlane Weaver, and he went Hood, Radiance.
What?
Like Treads, Hood, Radiance. And it was like the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And never seen anything like it before. Everyone's like, oh my god, this Weaver's so tanky. And he's just like split pushing all the waves. They can't kill him. And I think he followed up with like a heart, like something ridiculous. And I'm not saying like you could do that now, but you could. I feel like he's a value hero that you could build whatever. To be honest, like I think if you build aura type items, you are still able to shukichi the backline, bugs, kill supports, even without the typical like damage items.
I think it's an interesting question, but I would veer away from the pipe. The way I would see it, if you've got greedy cores, there's an argument that you should continue your semi-greedy damage items so that you can cause that disruption in the mid game, that
to make time for the rest of the
time and space for the rest of your team to come online. And if I don't think you could have the same impact and threat potential if you're in the back line hitting someone with a pipe versus a
what if you just go
diffusal.
First item BKB?
Still not enough damage. I think in the early mid game it's most likely get away with not having BKB, and with a couple like low items like Wraithband's Wand, I think that's enough kind of beefiness and sustain to go backlines, then equip yourself with Diffusal or Dragonlance to be really aggressive and to just make space in that way. Pressure towers, pressure heroes, just do everything you can to make space for those greedy cores, as opposed to say, oh, I need to make space or be defensive utility. I think the pipe will only get massive value when it's used as a team item. That's not happening if you've got greedy cores farming everywhere. And what's the way you make space? That's by like, if that's aggression, what's that phrase? Like the best form of defense is attack. I think a Weaver 3, if you've got greedy cores, you kind of have to follow that philosophy. In other games, though, I think it could be the case that maybe you are balling up a bit more, and pipe could be the answer, or that extra armor buff could be the answer. It's going to be game specific, but generally, I think
consider whether or not the best way to make space and have impact in the early game is actually doing the counterintuitive thing of building a first item damage item, like you say, like Diffusal or something, because it's going to let you. Yeah, no, it's a good thing to think about.
But then
one thing I think that's, or sorry, I was going to say what.
Go on.
Okay, one thing I think is funny is if it was the previous patch, you would just buy Chrysalis on this Weaver, you would, and you would just like be a madman, and that's how you would make the space.
And if it was the patch before, you just build Javelin, 2 Javelins.
Yeah,
maybe, yeah.
Because, we all know what hero does, and not many heroes, agi cores, agi carries, can afford or are able to put that much pressure on enemy heroes, because like, how do they get on top of them? How can they escape? How can they survive? Weaver's got 2 of those mechanics with W and ult, so he's really got the tools to put his face right in the enemy's face and make space like that. But also, pivoting to the later game, I think Ags pickup, say you're a 3, could often be very, very value. And so say you have got that Diffusal Dragonlance and you've made space for your cores. If it turns out that your pos 1 and 2 are actually going to be the true carries of the late game, I think you can then start pivoting away from damage and aggression and go into, say, something like maybe a Solar to buff up that melee right click, or maybe an Aghanims if you need to offer some save potential.
That's what I did, smiley face.
Yeah.
I did Treads, Diffusal, Bloodthorn, Ags.
That's a meaty
and,
item set.
Yeah, Ags was pretty fun. I mean, it's always been pretty fun, but like, you can't kill a Void if you have a Time Walk and Ags. Time lapse, between the 2 of you.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if I rated Bloodthorn. I thought it'd be cool because I think attack speed is good on Weaver, especially if you have like on-hit Diffusal and stuff. And the fact that during the, you don't get the natural crit, but you do get the Bloodthorn crit active and True Strike. So I thought it might be cool. But I think there's probably better items. I think the Hyperstone was largely lost in the item for a Weaver.
Just before we leave the Ags, this item's especially good when you have, like what Marco said, just like a be or end all one. Like looking through these guides, when Ags has been picked up, there's a game here where there's a Terrorblade on the Weaver's team, Another one with a Luna on the Weavers team.
Should we say what it does?
Huskar here. Yeah. Well, let's test me. It basically gives you time-lapse is castable on an ally, basically. So it's a big save. It's like a point and cast time-lapse on a 16-second cooldown.
Yeah. That's silly.
0 mana, by the way.
Really?
18.
0 mana?
When you're level 18, because your mana cost always goes down.
Oh, so it's 0 anyway. I didn't realize that. I thought it was like...
It goes 150, which is like feels terrible at level 6, but it's worth. That's why you have to have wand and stuff. And that's why the extra int helps now, because you can actually dive easier. But it goes 150, 75, 0. It's like it was like Terrorblade before they kind of nerfed Sunder mana cost a little bit.
Level 25 TB with like the 4 seconds 0 mana Sunder.
Yeah. So now it's like a 0 second, 16 second cooldown time lapse on your team as well, 1,000 cast range. So actually can get it off from a mile away as Weaver, because you just time lapse in at 700 move speed. Or sorry, Shukichi in at 700, then time lapse your team. And it's especially feels broken when you do pair it with a big one. Like, okay, on a 1 Weaver, yeah, it's annoying. But on like a support or a 3 Weaver, when you're taking this 30k net worth hero and they blow everything on him, and you're like, no,
yeah,
reset.
Yeah, this item can seal the game for sure. If you've got some big 1 or 2, that's like your win condition, that's your critical hero to win the game. If you get this Ags and 1,000 cast range is bloody kind of like large. It's really generous cast range.
Twice the range of Force Staff now. Feels bad.
Look at me, we're the supports now. Fucking Weaver. And also, if you're ahead, I feel like this item, and again, you're not the one, I feel like this item seals the deal for you, because if you're ahead and you're now going, okay, we're going to get this raw shot, we're going to start doing these high ground sieges, the enemy, what do they do? How do you go on that beast that's on the front line with a time lapse behind him? Like, they can't take a fight. If you're ahead and the enemy team can't take a fight, you've practically got checkmate. Like, what can they do? Yeah,
and also if they do go on the big hero, and you get that time lapse off, if you're ahead, it's like almost guaranteed to be like a wipe, and you're just going to win the game.
Yeah.
It's not like if you're behind and like, we use everything on this one hero, he gets time lapsed. But if you've got a big enough net worth lead, sometimes it's like, we don't care, we'll just kill him again.
Yeah.
So. And it's 16 seconds, so you're going to do it multiple times in a fight if it happens. And just reading this now, time lapse strong dispels on cast, so you turn off stuns too. You're actually just aphotic shielding and and healing.
Time
that's
walking,
crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
Imagine if Weaver could pop time lapse while stunned, like an Abba can, or like old Morph. Damn,
that'd be obnoxious.
It'd be so obnoxious. Yeah. So why is it applying this on the Ags? Like, that's crazy. I've never noticed that.
Let's finish the... Go on.
My 2 final points. I've never actually... So the few Weaver games I've seen recently, they've never gone late enough for this kind of scenario to arise, but it would be really cool to see it happen. The other comment I was going to make is, say if you're a 1 Weaver, going back to the more POS 1 conventional Weaver, thinking about what's your item after Diffusal, and I'm kind of going with what Koifu was doing, 1 aggressive item, diffuse, followed by defensive. And I know I said Lincoln's. It's going to be game dependent, so if there are those single point like Bane or LC or Lincoln's, the way forward, but other games, maybe it's an AoE silence or a root. That's Manta for you. Or there might be games where second item BKB is just what would be most value, and you pick that up and you just want that item after your first offensive item that can mean you can stand and fight in those mid-game skirmishes. So I think one of those 3 is the way to go, and it's just going to be game dependent which one's most optimal. And then after that item, go back to some damage.
Can you squeeze in a Dragon Lance after Diffusal Blade before going for your defensive item? Is that, if the game's good, you can do that? Would you say only give the green light if it's like a strong game and you're feeling like good? Or do you think... Yeah, go on.
I feel like if the game's good, it still doesn't warrant getting it, because if you're ahead, what's going to help you not be stopped and not have the enemy team come back? I think when you're ahead, go get that defensive item, and it means you can't throw and you can't give the enemy a chance to come back into it. So actually, I know where you're coming from. Oh, I'm ahead, I'm doing really well. It gives me room and space and justification to get even more damage. But when you're ahead, is that actually what you need? Probably not. And if anything, if you're behind, that's arguably when you need to think, actually, I need to roll the dice and skip that defensive item and get the damage, because without it, I can't get back into the game. So it's kind of like a bit of a mind fuck a little bit.
No, I agree. I think, you explained it well. If you're ahead, you don't necessarily need a Dragon Lance to like make you do work, because you're already doing work because it's a good game.
Yeah.
And what's going to stop you doing work is if you like get bursted once or something like that.
I think I was playing in the game where this exact idea played out in the mid lane 1v1, and I was getting slapped by I think a Void Spirit or Shadow Fiend or something like this, and they were slapping me, and then they picked up an infused raindrops, and I was like, oh wow, this is such a GG item. They've got the gold from killing me that they now can buy infused raindrops, and you think, oh, really defensive, what you're doing. But if now I see that, I know I can't kill that mid lane. I can't ever like come back. I can't get any elastic band come back because he's too defensively strong, and he's already won the lane. So it's just like double lose, and it's a really smart pickup, I felt.
Yeah, nice. Is there much to talk about with Weaver's talents? Is there much variation?
I think so I was kind of back and forth on the first two. I think it pretty solidly always 2 swarm or 4 swarm attacks at 20 over the armor reduction, and then the movement speed at 25 over the Geminate, unless you're going like meme Geminate build. But I went 75 Shukichi damage and then 14 strength at 15. Even though I already had a diffusal, you would think maybe you want to double up on mana break because they stack, but I thought 14 strength is a lot. It's really good.
Yeah.
And then if you go Dragonlance and 14 strength at 15, that's a lot of strength. Actually really tanky.
It's also the same point again, mid-game skirmishes. Do you need more damage output, or do you need that 280 HP that lets you survive and fight longer and not give the enemy a chance to come back in the game? I think 14 strength is way too powerful to overlook.
Yeah, unless you just really need to mana burn something. Like an AM or a Medusa or something.
True.
Yeah, against Dusa, mana break's going to be your friend. Also, I mean, 14 strength, that's 1,400 gold if you take the Ogre Axe cost. It's pretty strong. Yeah, I would say that pretty much covers Weaver.
Nature's Guardian returns.
So, Nature's Prophet then. Marco, this is a hero close to your heart, I know. Why now? Why is Prophet worth talking about today? What's happened? I'm
not certain what's happened, or if anything's happened.
RTZ?
I know that Sumail's been smashing Fury. I don't know about Artur. What's he been doing?
Well, he played it on stream. He had a game where he was like, he flamed a teammate. He was like, you don't have any idea how to play Nature's Prophet? Watch some of my old replays, and you'll see. And then he went through then he opened up his game history and like pulled up a few Nature's Prophet games and like, here's what you do.
What's the answer?
He was just like, you push. He's like, you don't ever go to someone else's lane. You just keep pushing in the one lane you're in. It doesn't matter if you die. I took the tower. Now I come back and I do it again. And he just like wins. And he's like, oh, it looks like he's got it down.
Interesting.
I mean, I honestly don't know.
Are we seriously going to discuss a hero with a 47% win rate in Divine Plus? And a 44% win rate in Legend.
I think we are, because he's one of my most triggering heroes to play against. Because they press one button and they have 700 GPM. Doesn't matter what position either. And it's like, I don't understand where all this gold comes from.
Marco, you were saying though, if nothing's changed, then at least what's the attraction of this hero to your mind?
So I mean, I love the fact that it's got global mobility.
Presence.
Global presence, I really hate being any kind of sluggish, slow-moving hero, so always being able to get involved somewhere is really cool. That's kind of my biggest pull, and then the fact you can be really greedy with your farm, because who's going to stop you stealing all the creep with Wrath of Nature and going from camp to camp with teleport? So you can be really greedy with it and get a lot of gold. And then in recent times, watching different players play it, I think it's really cool how there are a lot of different item builds and play styles you can have with Fury. I think that's really attractive. So I'm thinking you've got your classic drums, orchid, hex. So when you get to level 20 and you get that cooldown reduction talent, I think most games are just won, because when you've got orchid and hex being reduced by 25% cooldown, you're popping off so many disables in a fight. It's incredible. But then at the same time, you could go something more utility. So the Sumail build has been Blade Mail into Vessel. Blade Mail tanks him up, stops anyone being able to hit him in the early game or the late early game, because he just pops Blade Mail. So what you're going to do, and then he's just got free reign to slap. Follow it up with an even tankier Vessel. I think he got it because there was some specifically good hero strength heroes say, and he just snowballs from there. Then I've also heard from WePlay talking about the true POS 1 Furion going right click. It was something like Mjolnir AC BKB, just TP into the middle of a fight, press BKB and hands off keyboard, just right click, because you got that damage talent. Make really strong damage talent, and then you've got the attack speed talent. So going that route instead of the cooldown reduction route, you could pump out a hell of a lot of damage. And then you see mechs sometimes on Furion. Definitely see some casual pipes. I've built pipes sometimes when your team just needs it, and you're a hero that can get gold and buy the item you need. So it's very, very flexible.
Did you mention Vessel? Did you say
Sumail did Blade Mail Vessel builds.
Ah, cool. Okay.
So again, if you need a Vessel on your team, Furion is one that can do it.
I also like a Vlad's as well on the hero.
True.
Sometimes can build a Vlad's.
So very, very, very flexible. It's interesting that its win rate is so bad in the highest level. I mean, there are a lot of weaknesses to the hero. 0 defensive capability, very little lockdown until you get the gold for items, bar Sprout, which is really limited.
Counter.
I don't know. Sometimes it's the most OP stun there is.
Sometimes is.
People are good at buying Quelling Blades now. I mean, especially at the highest level, but it's slowly trickling down that people are just buying a Quelling Blade even when their hero doesn't need one.
Yeah.
Well, otherwise you get stunned for 6 seconds. Like you just...
Yeah.
I think, so from my experience of playing Furion, it's probably one of my most played heroes over Dota 2, because I played it a lot on my first account. I feel like the laning was definitely my biggest weakness, and I always semi kind of struggle through the laning, because you optimize it with your really good treant usage, and you optimize it by never really getting caught out, because like I said, you're very vulnerable to aggression. But then once the laning finishes and you get that 10-15 minute point in the game, and you can just be anywhere on the map, that's when I feel like I can start flexing and getting work done, getting tower pushes done. You join fights and you clean up, mop up fights, and there's really nothing to stop you.
In terms of the skill build for Furion, is the only thing that's set in stone Sprout being leveled last? Or how does the skill build dynamic work at the moment?
I think you look to have 1-1-2 by level 4, value point in Sprout, value point in Teleport, and then get level 2 or 3 of your trees.
Okay, and why is trees going to 2 or 3 and not maxed at 7 always, or is that an option?
I think a lot of people take it to 3 or 4, but because I'm kind of shit with my micro and I want to be around the map more, put more weight on the teleport. But I think if you're going to play it real optimal, level 7, if you have all those treants, you can make a lot of aggression on towers work, and you can dive towers with it well. but I don't think you need to get level 4 treants. Like I've said, I'd happily forego that last point to start getting more teleport points.
Okay. You mentioned farming as well. Presumably, maxing treants helps with your farm, or is maxing teleport actually better? How does that?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of a good point. Kind of equal, I guess. On the whole, treants are going to help you farm a little bit more, but probably it's more about the pushing. If anything, I just like the teleport so that I can get around the fights a bit more reliably. I think it's definitely not optimal to get teleport over your treants, because really, if you're playing optimal, you don't need 20-second cooldown teleport in the early game. You use it either, say, you go regen at base, or you're using it to go to a new lane where there's a skirmish happening, or another lane, the tower push opens up, so you go and join in. Like, it's always just a very basic rotation in the early game. So it's not like you're all over the map like you are in the late game.
And Adam, you mentioned that this hero is one of the most triggering heroes for you because of this ultimate giving you like guaranteed crazy GPM. What kind of profit out of the ones we talked about do you think's the strongest for pubs? If you were thinking of climbing, do you just take it game specific, or are you always going to be gravitating towards one type of profit?
I think you just game specific, because you're just going to get gold.
Yeah.
You're like Alk. You're just like, oh, I know I'm going to get 20k net worth, so I get to have my king's ransom and items, just get the perfect items every game.
You're like Alk. Yeah.
And it's just like
you've definitely been scarred by this Wrath of Nature.
I've lost to 4 position Nature's Prophets. They're the most farmed on their teams. It's like, oh, this is cool. 0 cooldown, teleport, so triggering to be taking a team fight, and you look in the opposite side of the map and your racks are falling.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't kind of punish the Fury in the early laning or the mid game, I feel like you're in for trouble. And I feel like if you are ahead and you've got Fury on your team, it's very easy to snowball your lead. Because when you're ahead and you've got more license to push lanes and you've got less pressure on you, I feel like not many heroes can snowball like Furion by just farming the whole map, constantly having the map pushed in. That creates protection, that creates farm for your team. It's just such a nice snowball.
As long as he doesn't TP in like directly into their 5 heroes, and feed over and over, it's really tough.
And also just a thing that I want to say as well is this is a new meta slogan at this point to push lanes in, but this hero, more than any other, like, get those lanes pushing in, because the split push potential, the rat potential, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the bait potential, in the sense that you might think, I've got all these treants so I can just farm jungle. That's true, but you're like Tinker. The whole point of having this crazy mobility in treants is so you can have the lanes pushed in at all times. So please do that. Like, that's probably the fundamental, most important part of the hero, is applying pressure in that way.
It makes me think of that Jenkins video where he talks about how to farm better. I don't know if that was the exact title of the video, but about how, depending on where your team is positioned, / more importantly, where your creep are positioned on the map, that will dictate what creep camps are open for you to farm. And then in his video, he analyzes it by rating neutral camps from safe, medium, or risky. And if you think about the map in 2 halves of Radiant and Dire, you want to shove creep waves so that you've got access to more neutral camps and therefore access to more golden experience. And then the riskier ones, which are, say, touching or inside the enemy's jungle, as a Furion with that mobility and that push power, you are able to then get those riskier camps and protect and keep open the safer camps for your cores. And the enemy can't get them because they've got creeps pushing in their towers. And that's really, like you say, the essence of the hero. And like, again, when you're ahead and if you don't get punished too hard, you can really put your foot down on that point and just accelerate your whole team. Playing behind is a lot trickier, as it always is, but yeah, you definitely want to crush this hero in the laning and the early mid game to stop this kind of snowball happening.
And then with Boots of Travel being nerfed, like he just gets so much better.
True.
He's so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Even if you're behind, you can just TP in and cut like 2 lanes, and then like TP out, and no one can, deal with it.
Yeah. One negative of Nature's Prophet, and there is them because this hero's win rate doesn't reflect the level of enthusiasm that we have for the hero. I think his biggest drawback is how squishy he is. Marco's already said, no defensive utility really. And when I think of heroes that I like to play, 2 of my favourite heroes, perhaps my 2 favourite heroes, Meepo and Pugna, they both love playing against Nature's Prophet because you just blow them up like super easily. So that is one thing you need to be thinking of. Yes, you want to be pushing all these lanes, and yes, that's the most important thing. And you should be, always in Dota, you should be pushing your limits, of course, but you do need to be careful not to feed too much.
I think it's tempting to go too offensive on the hero as well. If you think about someone with a Shadowblade Orchid, I feel like that's going to be a lot more common in pubs than, say, a Pipe Orchid.
Vlad's.
Or a Vlad's Orchid, or even Buckler, Buckler Vessel Orchid, say. Something that beefs you up is likely going to get a bit more done, because Furion can get beefy. Like we say, he's easy to pick off because he doesn't have defensive capability outside of Sprout, and without items, I don't think he's obviously not a beefy, tanky strength hero or anything. But with the talent of 10 armor, and if you're then able to build like 1 or 1.5 defensive items, you can get good amount of HP and armor and be pretty tanky in the middle of a fight. And then BKB is an item that's probably overlooked too much on Furion because people think there need to be some kind of ninja in the background. You can actually get a BKB and just stand in the middle of a massive team fight, and you can be hard to kill and you can hit out a lot of damage. But I reckon people are maybe a bit too greedy sometimes with Maelstrom, Shadowblade. Like, you don't need a Maelstrom really unless you're doing this hardcore one roll. It's definitely going to be more value to be a bit more utility / defensive. Yeah,
I definitely agree. And another kind of obvious point to make is it's the same with Weaver in terms of taking a fight. You kind of want to be sprouting and picking off these supports in the back. Although it's a little harder for the reasons we just said to do that. You need to be careful not to say TP behind a fight to try and pick off like the vengeful spirit, sprout them, take a missile to the face, and suddenly like the fight sort of falls away a bit and you're going to die, like guaranteed, because enemies are going to be walking towards you. You're not like a Weaver who can shukichi out of the fight.
Yes.
When you commit with a teleport, you are committed. And if the fight doesn't go your way for whatever reason, or the fight doesn't really happen as you imagined, it turned out to just be a bit of poking, like you're going to die if you commit that teleport into the back lines. So you need to be good and think about how fights are developing before you commit to like going in.
Yeah. I think I feel like a lot of heroes, you wouldn't want to give that advice of kind of wait and delay your decision making too much, because don't like TP rotations say, or getting spells used in a fight, like just get them done now. However, Furion, I think, definitely benefits from what you say of being like kind of a bit more individualistic / greedy, but basically just delay your decision making a few seconds to wait to see how the fight unfolds and to see where your opportunity comes up. And in some cases, there won't be an opportunity to TP. And I know when I've played Furion recently, there could be some fight at our tier 1 on the other side of the map, and my team's getting a bit slapped, and TPs, help. Don't just go. Wait to see how it develops over a couple seconds. Or, okay, actually, maybe best case scenario, get a kill and out. Worst case scenario, a TP in and die. I don't have to make that decision. I can just continue farming where I am. So, yeah.
Well, one thing you can do is you can start your TP.
True.
Like you can start your teleport and look, because it takes 3 seconds for that to happen. And you're like, nope, this is bad. And you can restart it. Or as what you say, you could just look at the situation while right-clicking a wave in the other lane.
And it comes back to what we were saying about pushing the waves. It's way more or way less punishable to not contribute to a team fight, not TP in, if you're pushing in a lane and applying pressure onto a tower, or something like that. So that sort of comes back round to what we were saying before. Any final thoughts on Prophet, or should we go to the famous talent tree that usually
he attacks so fast? That's right.
I would wonder why its win rate is so low. Like, it's not even 50. It's kind of interesting.
I think it's because it's squishy and people play it as a 3. I also think people play it as like a grief jungler, like 10% of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
At least 10% of the time.
Forget about the grief jungle potential.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Don't jungle with this hero as like an AFK position 3.5 that just leaves your team out to dry. And then also just because it's squishy, I think. I don't know. The hero scales, his win rate scales as Hiram was.
To me, he feels equal parts brain dead and then like uber skill. It's so hard. It's like there's a reason why Alliance wanted TI off of this hero's back, you know? It's like Admiral Bulldog is so good with Nature's Prophet. You watch any of his games on his YouTube channel or stream, like so many sprout blocks and so many treant blocks, and using flying vision from Sprout and like all sorts of neat little plays, and then the rest of it just like hands off keyboard, attacks somebody for 1,500 damage in 3 seconds because he just hits Giga hard. It's wild.
Just a PSA as well about these treant blocks. The only technique, I'm sure everyone doesn't need telling this, but have all your treants on a hotkey, then just right-click with your main hero, and then just control the treants and block, and your hero will follow and right-click. It's not like you have to micro both sets of units, your treant and your hero. You just set the right-click on your hero, and then you can completely concentrate on treants. Hopefully one person out of the hundreds of listeners didn't know that.
Yes. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, of course. Gotta help those Nature's Prophets pickers to come straight into my arms because I exclusively pick Prophet counters. So 30 damage at 10, kind of a no-brainer, right? This hero doesn't need move speed that much because you teleport into fights and stuff.
I've seen both, but
yeah,
but 30 damage is pretty solid.
Yeah, and then 15, 10 armor or 4 treants.
10 armor.
Yeah, it's a lot of armor.
So you're just like, all of a sudden you look, it's like, why does this Nature's Prophet have 37 armor as a ranged hero? It's like he has an AC and 10 armor talent, and like actually cannot hit him.
Yeah, literally just getting hit by like a Terrorblade with Metamorphosis Manta and like 2 mirror images, just like chilling. Yeah. 20, 40 attack speed or 25 CD reduction. You mentioned the CD reduction earlier.
Always.
But Dota Buff has a much higher pick rate for 40 attack speed.
That's wrong.
Yeah, people
are wrong.
Yeah, people are wrong.
25 CDR is a level 25 talent on 20 for some reason. Like, it is so obnoxiously strong.
Yeah.
And it gets stronger the more active items you buy. But base level, it's insane with Wrath of Nature and just teleports and treants and sprouts. I mean, I don't think it's permanent sprout uptime, is it? With just the 25 talent? Or the 25 reduction talent?
Yes.
I think it would be. It is, yeah.
6 duration, 6 cooldown.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
But Admiral Bulldog swears by his talent, says it's the best talent in the game. And I think if and only if you have got Orchid Hex, this talent just wins games flat out. The number of silence and hex you can do in a fight at that point in the game, level 20, the fights are going to be like a minute long, say, long skirmishes. To be getting an extra however many hexes and silences, it's just unbelievably good. However, I think, the only one argument you could have for the 40 attack speed genuinely is if you're doing some mega right-click builds, AC, Mjolnir, BKB, say, and you don't have whatever you call items that can be used, castable items or something like that. Only then would you warrant it. But I think on the whole, you want to go the Orchid Hex kind of game style.
Or BKB, or
even BKB gets reduced as well, so that's what helps.
But it doesn't scale with the 25 talent, the removed teleport cooldown.
Yeah, that's true. And it's a Namba right there.
Yeah, and the new Bloodthorn as well gives attack speed. So I guess that makes you more likely to go CDR if you needed another reason.
Just get it every game, guys. Come on.
Watch your win rate. That's why it's under 50%, because they are taking the best talent.
Yeah, there you go.
I think
we figured that one out.
It'd be interesting to see his win rate as depend on what time the games end, because I'm sure that if you get a game that you can stretch beyond 30 minutes, Fury's win rate will really skyrocket.
Yeah, I think he's a king in the late game.
Absolute king, yeah. So
I think he has games where he ends it really early, just because you can snowball. But I think there's probably also games where you get pushed in. It's just the supreme late game. You are so obnoxious to deal with.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts on Nature's Prophet before we wrap up? Play the hero.
Play the hero. Don't jump into fights too fast. Be greedy. You need gold. You need the game to go later. Clean up fights. TP in at the end and mop up some kills. Use your items. People probably don't do that enough. Build
Starting
the right items.
Starting items. Do you start with Blightstone or not?
I would just get one of the aura items, probably.
I think the armor aura item is the one you want, if any, because your treants get buffed. Yeah, Buckler. I think Blightstone often is good. Both you could do, honestly.
Also, he did have his backswing buffed. I don't think that is the biggest thing. He already attacks so hard and fast for a ranged hero at level 1. It feels really hard to deal with because he also has treants in front. You can't trade with him, especially if he has a buckler. So I would just make sure you harass.
Okay. Well, there you are. Thanks for talking to me about Weaver and Nature's Prophet, people. That's episode 82. Join us again in a week for another beautiful Defense of the Ancients 2 podcast. And until then, have a final whistle as always.